Today is Thursday, April 1st, 2021. We're broadcasting live from downtown Youngstown, Ohio in the awesome Commerce Building down here. We're located right behind the YMCA. So if you're ever down in this area, drive by, check us out. It's a pretty sweet studio. On today's show, it is April Fool's Day, but really, I got no jokes here except for it's snowing outside, which is pretty insane. Next week, though, it looks like it's back in the 70s, so we should be good. But happy opening day for Major League Baseball. The Indians are about to have their first pitch here in about 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. So real quick, looking at their lineup. Jordan Luplow is going to start out in center field. There's a left-hander pitching for the Tigers, so that's why he's starting today. Cesar Hernandez batting second, playing second base. Jose Ramirez switch hitting, batting third, playing third. New pickup Eddie Rosario is going to play left field and hit cleanup. Franmil Reyes at DH, batting in the fifth spot. Josh Naylor, who they picked up from the Padres in the Clevenger deal last year, going to hit sixth and play right field. Yu Chang is going to play first base and bat seventh. I think they're trying to load the lineup with right-handed hitters. Roberto Perez will be behind the plate, hitting eighth, and new pickup Andres Jimenez, or Jimenez. I'm not exactly sure the pronunciation. I got to learn some of these guys, who they picked up for Francisco Lindor in the with the trade with the Mets, will be the new shortstop and bat ninth. So, we're going to have more of a Cleveland Indians preview show on Tuesday's show. I know, that's a couple days into the season, but that's just the way we wanted to do it. So good luck to the Tribe today. And this will be the last opening day that the Cleveland Indians are known as the Cleveland Indians. Next year, they will have an entirely new nickname. We're not sure what that's going to be yet. So I guess enjoy it while it lasts. So we will see what that brings. We're going to probably do a whole podcast on the whole name change too, as well. We also have the Final Four, which is set for this weekend. Number 1 Baylor is going to take on number 2 Houston. That game's Saturday at 5:15. And in the other matchup, UCLA, who knocked off number 1 seed Michigan, the 11 seed, is going to take on Gonzaga at 8:30. Gonzaga, pretty historic favorite here. They're a 14-point favorite against UCLA. So, it looks right for a Gonzaga-Baylor matchup, which is, preseason what we all kind of hope for, and it's trending towards that. But, don't count Houston or UCLA out of this. So we're going to have, the sort of the Texas matchup versus the West Coast matchup. We'll see how that plays out. Also, I mentioned our baseball preview. We're going to do that on Tuesday. So that should be pretty fun. And we're going to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball stadiums and road trips and things like that. And I think you'll enjoy what we discuss there. Just a quick other little bit of news here. The NFL just approved a 17-game regular season schedule. So all teams are now going to be playing 17 games instead of the 16-game schedule from the last 30 years or so. Roy Williams, the head coach formerly of Kansas and most recently the last decade or so at North Carolina, has decided to retire, hang it up after a 33-year coaching career. Great all-time coach. I believe he finished his career with 903 wins. Our old friend Francisco Lindor signed a 10-year, $341 million contract with the New York Mets. We'll talk more about that next week, whether he's worth that or not, but he's getting paid that, so I guess he is worth that. And then also 4 weeks from today is the NFL draft. So down here at Youngstown Studios, we have set up a partnership with Magic Tree and Boardman and Westside Bowl in Austintown. And we're going to talk to some of the Browns backers organizations. We might have some of them representing at both of those locations. I will be in studio, and we're going to have Lisa Resnick at Westside Bowl, and I believe Fast Freddy at the Magic Tree location. We'll get you more details as they unfold with that. But 4 weeks from today is the NFL draft, which is pretty exciting. So our show today is basically going to be the wrap up, the finale of our sports movie bracket. So we've had 96 different movies in this bracket. We've had 16 baseball, 16 basketball, 16 football, and then 48 other sports or miscellaneous sports, you know, so boxing and golf and different you know, basically anything but baseball, basketball, football, soccer, stuff like that. So we are down to the finals, and basically the champions in each region. Major League came out of the baseball region. Remember the Titans out of the football region. Hoosiers out of the basketball region. Rocky out of the miscellaneous sports region. So Major League advanced last week, and remember the Titans advanced last week. So those two are going to match up in the finals today. We're going to announce the winners. And we have 7 other fun categories that I'm going to show you here on this video here in a minute. We have Best Fictional Coach, Best Speech in a Sports Movie, Best Montage, Best Song, Best Crossover Actor or Actress, Best Villain, Best Underdog, and obviously our final category will be our Best Movie. So, you know, the champions, like I said, from each region. Major League, remember the Titans, Hoosiers, Rocky, and then Major League took out Hoosiers last week, and remember the Titans took out Rocky. So those are the 2 movies left standing. We're going to go over the awards here in a minute, and so I'm going to throw it over to a Zoom call here, and we will see you next week. So go Tribe, and take a look at this video, and hope you enjoy it. Ahead here. So sports movie awards, the voting is closed. We had 172 votes in our polling, so that was the highest number so far. So thanks to everybody for voting. Joining me on this call, we got Dave Hodge, Brett Franklin, Greg Kirchner, and Dave Spire. So gentlemen, thanks for jumping on, and you know, hopefully we'll announce the winners tonight, and we'll kind of go over each category and have a little fun with it too. So, so I guess before I get into this, any thoughts on the way the voting turned out so far, like what you guys have seen, any surprises, stuff like that. So, anybody have anything they want to add to that?
We'll just see if Remember the Titans can keep its run going.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's gone probably about 3 or 4 more rounds, honestly, than I think a lot of us thought. So we'll see if it can close the deal.
Okay.
I mean, for a while there, Rocky was like, which we expected Rocky to do, but it was taking out some big time movies. And then, like we said we did not expect, I fully expected a Rocky Major League Championship match, and the fact that they made it there, just I think the amount of movies they actually took out is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So I guess let me ask you guys this. You know, we have the finals of Major League and Remember the Titans. What movie, I guess, before we started, would you have picked to like kind of get to this point?
You mean out of the whole selection of everything?
Out of all, I guess, 96.
I kind of thought Major League was going to get there, so I'm not really surprised by that. Remember the Titans definitely is a surprise, but it's a good surprise because I do love that movie. I kind of thought Rocky Agreed would have gotten in there. I'm surprised, you know, given, you know, maybe the age group that Varsity Blues didn't get in there too as well, but you know, I mean, I guess I'm surprised on that side a little bit. I have to go back and revisit, but I think that I'm surprised actually it's not Rocky, to be honest. I thought that was going to be kind of a cult hit because it's been, you know, classic for years. Now spanning like 4 decades with Creed. So,
okay.
I think it is so much like age specific and regional specific. And I think that part of that is why Rocky didn't make it and why Major League is in there. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually surprised Remember the Titans actually made it. It's one of my favorite movies it is my favorite sports movie, but I'm actually surprised that based on the location of where we're in that it actually made it. But it's a shocking, and it's nice to actually see it there because it is a classic.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking, Dave just kind of nailed it on the head right there. But Caddyshack, I thought would have done a little bit better. It's considered one of the all-time great comedies, and it is a sports movie. So you thought maybe, but as he said, like the generation specific kind of stuff, like it just didn't resonate as much as some of these other ones did.
Okay. Greg?
No, I had a parlay ticket for Major League and Varsity Blues in the final, and unfortunately, only half of that came through. That's really kind of what I thought it would be. Maybe it's just selfishly what I liked, but I thought maybe it would be that. But yeah, I think we're all a little bit surprised where I remember the Titans, but not discounting how deserving it is.
Yeah. I was surprised Major League dominated Hoosiers last round as much as it did. I thought Hoosiers might take that out, but yeah, I think seeing how the voting has gone, there's been several ties, several really close matchups, but to be honest, most of like the bigger matchups haven't really been overly close. So let's just real quick remind everybody of Major League's road, how it got here. So Major League, and I'm starting with Major League because that was the 1 seed from the baseball region. So they took out 8 Men Out, Moneyball, A League of Their Own, Field of Dreams, and Hoosiers, which was the 2 seed from the basketball region. And then remember the Titans route. They took on Jerry Maguire, The Blind Side, Varsity Blues, Rudy, and Rocky. So I mean, those last 3, are really, really big. Some might call them upsets, some might call them, pretty evenly matched. But to go against Varsity Blues and come out on top, Rudy, which around here I thought Rudy would definitely win that matchup, and it did not. And then obviously, like Brett said, with Rocky's kind of I think no matter, like Dave said, where you live, whether it's regional or whatever, it kind of, everybody knows that movie really, really well. So
what's interesting about your Final Four is that like all of them are at least 20 years old, as of today. At least there's nothing that was in, I feel like the last 10 years that was in the later parts of this bracket. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about it early on too, though. There just hasn't been a ton of sports movies released, and at least high-profile ones.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's a great point. All right, we are going to actually finish with Major League and Remember the Titans, but we're going to start with our awards first here. So I'm going to throw up here the nominees for the best fictional coach in a sports movie. And I said this on the last podcast, but I didn't want to put actual real life coaches on here because I thought that was just kind of disrespectful. You don't want to compare Herman Boone to Chubbs Peterson, or you don't want to compare coaches to Lou Brown, or so I just thought have a little bit more fun with it with the fictional coaches. So the fictional coaches, the nominees are Chubbs Peterson from Happy Gilmore, Jimmy McGinty from The Replacements, Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball, Lou Brown from Major League, and Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. And if you're watching online or you're watching live, you can see a lot of the honorable mentions. I'm just going to go through those real quick. Morris Buttermaker, Gary Gaines, Gordon Bombay, Tony D'Amato, Mickey Goldmill, Esther Lee, Jackie Moon, Phil Weston, Danny O'Shea, Coach Klein from The Waterboy, Jimmy Dugan, Pete Bell, Nate Scarborough, Joe Riggins, Pop Fisher, Ed Gennaro, Sam Winters, Irv Blitzer, and Reggie Dunlop. So those are our nominees, or those were our honorable mentions. And then we had the 5 nominees for this award. So guys, I guess we'll go from, on my screen, I'll go from the bottom to the top. Dave, thoughts on Best Fictional Coach?
Which Dave?
You got 2 Daves.
Dave Spires.
Oh man, to me it comes down to the process of elimination. It comes down to I love Coach Brown with the "Come on, Ricky, give him the heater." But to me, it comes down to Mr. Miyagi, because being a coach myself, not only do you want to teach your kids how to perfect their craft, but you also want to teach them some things about life. And I think of all the people up there, nobody does that better than Mr. Miyagi. I mean, he took a little small boy from New Jersey that was getting his butt kicked all over the place, and not only taught him how to fight, but made him believe that he was a champion, and he turned him into a champion. And taught him that doing certain chores and working hard will pay dividends. And as a coach, that's all you want to do is teach your kids to work hard, and hard work pays off. And he did that. So for me, it's Mr. Miyagi.
All right, very good. Greg, we'll go to you.
Yeah, no, it is hard to top Miyagi, but I'm a Lou Brown guy myself. I just feel like he is just the quintessential. He just reminds me of a major league manager. I mean, the way he played the role was phenomenal. Just the way he handled kind of everything from spring training all the way through the end of the season. The way he handled the conflict between Dorn and Vaughn in the locker room, like, shut up, Dorn. Just phenomenal. And I love the kind of, I think we talked about this before, not a big analytics guy. He's all about the hunch. Love a good hunch. It's Lee Brown. And that picture's great. That just like that epitomizes him.
Okay. All right, very good. Brett, to you.
And I know I mentioned it earlier on. I'm sticking with it. I'm going Patches O'Houlihan. You have a group of guys who lost to a group of Girl Scouts in a dodgeball contest and only got in because someone tested for anabolic steroids. So they ended up winning. So I think part of it was while he doesn't have that that one-on-one coachability like all the other 4 do have, I think the way he was able to get people to perform well and play the game right is just a huge thing in terms of the sports world. So Patches is my favorite.
Okay, all right.
And also his name's Rip Torn in real life. So come on, right?
Yeah.
Can't beat that name.
Which one is it? Rip or Torn? All right, this now to Dave Hodge. You're going to finish it.
I mean, I'll be brief, but I mean, it's tough because you almost have to look at him like, is it the comedic side, or you're going with like the more serious side. But for me, I'm a Miyagi fan. I'm with the other Dave on this one too, because I feel like, he doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, whatever he does say stuff, right, it's impactful, it's meaningful, it's like you want to listen to him. So I mean, I got to go with Miyagi in this one, though. It was tough. I mean, Chubbs Peterson's classic, and there's a lot. They're all good there. And I like Tony D'Amato, and some of those other ones in the honorable mentions were great too. So,
okay, all right, very good. All right, well, the votes are in, and the winner is going to go to the Daves on this one. Mr. Miyagi has come out on top. I think he came out. I got to double check my percentages, but I think he had about 43%.
Ooh.
So almost half.
That's a decisive win against four other guys.
Yeah.
So Mr. Miyagi with as the best fictional coach, and I think the Cobra Kai show might help a little bit there voting as well. So.
Probably.
All right, we're gonna go to our next award, and I tried to kind of put these in order that made sense. So you can't have generally you have good coaches, and with good coaches, you got good speeches kind of go along with that. So here are the coaches that were nominated for best speech in a sports movie. So we got Herb Brooks from Miracle, Tony D'Amato, played by Al Pacino in Any Given Sunday. You got Herman Boone, played by Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans. Coach Langle from We Are Marshall, which is played by Matthew McConaughey. And Norman Dale from Hoosiers, played by Gene Hackman. And I forgot to mention Herb Brooks, played by Kurt Russell as well. So all pretty big time actors right there playing these coaches. And obviously were picked for those roles for because they're so good at their job. So looking at this, we'll go the other way on this one. So we're going to start with Dave Hodge on this one. So Hodge, what's your thoughts?
Oh gosh, I kind of forecasted last time when I mentioned them, but I love the Tony D'Amato speech. I mean, that halftime speech, and I wish I could get like a descriptive. If I remember, like it's like the game of inches. You're gonna be looking at like third and like 6 instead of third 9 or something like that, or what was it, third and 6 instead of like third and 2. I forget what exactly was said, but that to me is my favorite scene. I think that's one of the best scenes in that movie. So I'm going with Tony D'Amato. Okay. Although I do like Herman Boone's speech as well too. So I think he's got a lot of good ones in that movie. So I'm not even sure which one they're referencing for Herman Boone in this one, but like the Gettysburg talk to me is one of the more impactful ones there too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one I was referencing in this one.
Okay. I'll stick with D'Amato though.
Okay. All right. Brett, we'll go to you.
Man, I'm glad Dave clarified that, because that was actually going to be my question, which then solidifies Herman Boone. I know I said last week that was one of my favorite scenes of any of the movies, and how impactful it was, and it's the way it brought that team together. And that was essentially, he had to do that before the season started and before they left that camp. He had to get that team working together and get past everything that they had been going through. So yeah, I got to go Herman Boone.
Okay. All right, Greg, to you.
Yeah, I'm with Dave Hodge on the Tony D'Amato inch by inch speech. It's phenomenal. And Pacino's just amazing start to finish on that. And that's the one, you see that, you probably see that speech more than any, I think, like on the Jumbotron at a basketball game or something before the last possession. That gets a lot of airtime on that. It's legendary. But yeah, those are all phenomenal across the board.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Spires, we'll finish with you.
99% of me wants to go with Herman Boone, but that 1% wants to go with the miracle speech, because it's just so real. And you think about all the times you've been in competition, and like you said, you play a team 10 times, they might beat you 9 times, but not this time, just one time. We skate faster, we hit harder, and to me, that just gave me goosebumps anytime I actually hear it. So for me, it's the miracle speech, Coach Brooks.
Okay. All right. Very good. Obviously, this is kind of tough to pick here, but I'm going with the voters here, and the voters went with 64 votes to Coach Herman Boone from Remember the Titans, which translates to about 36% of
Not
the
bad.
And actually, Norman Dale and D'Amato's tied for second. So that's the way the voting turned out for that. So yeah, but again, all great speeches, but one has to be a winner. So
there's certainly an honorable. There is an honorable mention of the Jack Langle speech, just because it was like the speech was at the site of the memorial for the crash victims who died. That might be the most tear jerking of all of them. So just so it gets some mention, that is a great speech too.
Or does that forecast the winner of the final 2 movies a little bit, with Boone winning and Brown losing? And that, I don't know. Let's see.
We shall see. Here
That
comes.
is true.
So next is kind of another fun one. We're going to go to the best montage, and Spires is going to love this, because I had to get my Teen Wolf nominee in there with, but we got, I put 7 nominees in this one. There was literally like 30 to choose from, or maybe even more. But I went with these 7. The Hangover, which is kind of when they go out, in Varsity Blues after, then they just get beat up the next day. The AC/DC Thunderstruck song. You're the Best, which is kind of an iconic. It's one of those 80s songs that's so bad it's kind of good, and it's memorable. Pennant Fever from Major League. Gonna Fly Now from Rocky, but there's also Eye of the Tiger. There's also like other different montages, but Gonna Fly Now is the original that we went with. And Franklin, last week how we talked about Rocky 1 versus Rocky 2, the montages. This is the one in the first one when he goes up.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's the one we were referencing. And then Rudy, I put the tryout scene because that's kind of that classic music you always hear. So that montage, obviously, probably the worst basketball scene in any movie, but a great, entertaining movie. Win in the end from Teen Wolf, and then Jump Around from Happy Gilmore when Adam Sandler, kind of is getting going and just changing the game of golf in general. So I'll tell you what, Greg, we'll start with you on this one. Your thoughts on the best montage.
Yeah, I'm partial to the Rudy tryout montage just because I think like the music, it's pretty good football scenes. He's getting his ass kicked. The tryout speech that the coach gives at the beginning is really good. So I'm gonna go with the tryout montage.
Okay. Franklin, we'll go to you.
Yeah, this was actually the one that kind of like paused me when I was voting. And I'm with Greg. I'm going with Rudy on that one. There's so many good ones, but I think just all of it pieced together with what he had been going through, it was like things were finally starting to break for him, and that I think that was really sort of the turnabout in the movie as well.
Okay. Spires, to you.
I guess I'm an 80s kid, and I'm going with, Always Look Out, You're the Best Around.
Okay.
Karate Kid. Still transitional.
Okay. And Hodge, to you.
I'm surprised I'm the only one. I'm going with Rocky. I'm Gonna Fly Now. I mean, to me, that's just that as a kid, I was motivated to go work out and go run myself after that. So that's got to be it for me.
Okay.
You still got it going in your headphones, so you can. That's your walk to the gym music, Hodge. Come on, baby.
I heard I was at the gym with it today.
All right. Well, this one was the closest of all the votes. We actually had the winner had 46 votes. Second place had 45 votes.
Wow.
So Gonna Fly Now from Rocky with 46 votes to Tryouts from Rudy. 40.
Wow.
So very, very, very close on voting. And
I mean, we said last time that Rocky kind of defined the montage, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But we did say that they got better with their montages as the movies went along, like 2 and 3 and 4, like the montages. So it wasn't necessarily one where this one came from, where the montages were all that prevalent.
Well, and they continue with it. Like you watch Creed, they do a montage now. It's just obviously more modern and cool, but I mean, classic theme of those movies.
Yeah. I think a lot of these directors and stuff were thinking like, oh shit, I gotta show him training for a fight that's 6 months away. Like how do I, so you're just showing the passage of time, and if you can accompany that with like a good song that people remember, I think that's then that's going to be memorable in everybody's book. So, all right. So best montage went to Gonna Fly Now. So the next one sort of goes along with that a little bit. We are going to go to the best song, and there were a ton of nominees in this one. So I'm just going to read these through real quick. I'm just going to read the song titles, and you guys can see the screen. But My Hero, Norman Greenbaum, which was Spirit in the Sky, Regulators, the main theme from Rudy, Wild Thing from Major League, the Knock the Cover Off the Ball, sort of the natural theme, Chariots of Fire, Jump Around, He Got Game, Eye of the Tiger, We Will Rock You, John Fogerty. Somebody threw this out to me on Facebook, and I'm like, I gotta add it. So I Believe I Can Fly, R. Kelly from Space Jam, and You're the Best Around, Joe Esposito, the Karate Kid. So a lot of whatever kind of music you're into, there's pretty much everything on the board. So a ton of different nominees. So Brett, we'll start with you. You kind of like led the music segment a couple weeks ago, shows ago. So why don't you lead off with your thoughts on this real quick?
Yeah, I didn't honestly. I saw the first one, didn't even read the rest. My Hero, Foo Fighters. To me, it's the pinnacle of songs in a sports movie, in my opinion. Just as the time that it was played, just kind of Greg and I have talked about this way too much too, and this was I'm sticking with it.
Okay, all right. Greg, to you.
Yeah, so I mean, I love My Hero, but I actually voted for Chariots of Fire because that theme is absolutely iconic. The scene where they're running on the beach, which is right outside, for a tidbit of the week, it's right outside of St. Andrews golf course on the beach.
Okay.
Phenomenal scene, phenomenal song, and I believe it actually was an Oscar-winning song too. So that was my vote.
All right, Spires.
To me, it came down to one. I had to eliminate R. Kelly immediately for obvious reasons, but it came down to either Chariots of Fire and Eye of the Tiger, and I went with Eye of the Tiger.
Okay. All right, and Hodge, to you.
I was close on Chariots of Fire for me, but I actually went with Queen and We Will Rock You because I was taking the angle of, like, if I were at a sporting event, which one of these songs would I most? I mean, as several of these you'd like to hear, right? But We Will Rock You, I think, is played at any sporting event, So we'll go with that.
Very good. Yeah, I actually voted for the main theme from Rudy just because I think that's so iconic. But so many movies. I think what you said too was really good. Like if you're at a sporting event, you're gonna pick a different song than maybe one you would think about for a movie. But yeah, like hard to argue with any of these. All when you think of the movie, a lot of times you think of the song that goes with it. So the winner though, this was the biggest blowout. No one even really close. The winner had 72 of the 172 total votes. And keep in mind, there's 14 songs on this list, and that was Eye of the Tiger. So it had 42% of the vote.
Wow.
And sort of every song got at least one vote, but it was very, all across the board, small percentages for the rest. So
quick question: how many people voted for Chariots of Fire? I think that we talk about it being, generational. I think probably a lot of people in this generation haven't seen Chariots of Fire or recognize Chariots of Fire, but that wasn't iconic.
that is a great question. I'm looking right now. Oh boy, where is it? Of course, you asked that. Now I'm not going to be able to find it. Cherry.
You think about movies that don't get any more airplay. I can't tell you last time I've seen Chariots of Fire. On television.
That's like one that's like in any scene where they're like running in slow motion or something. It's going to be played. Like I think wasn't Talladega Nights. They play that at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the one that
it's in Old School.
Yeah.
It's in Vacation.
What's sort of funny is I did, in college, I did computer animations, and the first one I ever did was only 30 seconds long, and it was a kid slow motion running through his backyard. And Chariots of Fire was playing, and it was just him jumping into the pool, but it was like him like slow motion running. It was, but the same kind of aspect.
I wonder if it's almost hurt the legacy of the song that it's kind of almost done as a joke anymore, right? It's kind of played in like a lot of comedic settings to where it almost takes the kind of luster out. But then when you watch in the actual movie, it obviously is a totally different feel to it.
Yeah. Here, let me see. To answer Dave's question, so 72 votes for Eye of the Tiger, 16 for We Will Rock You, 2 for Center Field, 12 for R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly, 10 for You're the Best Around, only 6 votes for My Hero, Franklin. Spirit in the Sky had 10 votes. Only 2 votes for Regulators. I think a lot of people don't think of Regulators as a sports song either. That's probably partially. 12 votes for the main theme from Rudy. 16 for Wild Thing. Only 6 votes for Chariots of Fire.
Wow.
6 votes for Jump Around, and only 2 votes for He Got Game. So kind of you can see all over the board there. And I think there was a couple more with maybe one vote here or there. So that's what my sheet tells me. But you know, that was a pretty big 43, roughly about 43% of the vote for Eye of the Tiger. And again, that song's pretty legendary. No matter you know, no matter who you are, you can recognize that song. All right, this next one's kind of another big category. And Dave, I know you got to go to a meeting, so if you got to jump off at any point, you know, feel free. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to bring this next category up. It's going to be best crossover actor or actress in a movie, and here we go. So, you know, what I did for this one, so to qualify for this, you had to be in at least 3 of the movies in the bracket. So, you know, there's like Wesley Snipes was in Wildcats as well, which would have been a 3rd movie. So he didn't qualify. He was in 2. Vince Vaughn, Rodney Dangerfield, Chadwick Boseman. Another movie that didn't make the bracket that if we were redoing this, that I would think would be The Express. That movie's really, really good. And there's a ton of big names in that movie, but Chadwick Boseman was in that one as well. And so he only had 2 movies in this. Carl Weathers, obviously Happy Gilmore, and the Rocky series. Now, any movies that were sequels or series, I only counted that as 1 because they were playing the same character. So, you know, like Emilio Estevez doesn't get every Mighty Ducks movie, you know, he gets 1. Barbara Hershey in there for Greg. James Earl Jones, obviously a legend of the baseball movies with The Sandlot and Field of Dreams. Russell Crowe, Mark Wahlberg, Charlie Sheen, Gene Hackman, Wesley Snipes. So those were the sort of honorable mentions that didn't make the list. Here's the main names. And I'm not going to read the movies they were in. I'm just going to read the actors' names. But Kevin Costner, Adam Sandler, Omar Epps, Chelsea Ross, Sylvester Stallone, Bill Murray, John Voight, Woody Harrelson, Paul Newman, Matt Damon, Will Ferrell, Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise, and John C. Reilly. So a lot of big names again in this list. So, you know, Dave, I know you got to check out soon, so I'm going to have you go first in this round. And, you know, whatever your thoughts on maybe like, you know, best sports actor or actress, I guess.
For me, it comes down to anything my man touches turns to gold. I'm going with Denzel Washington. I mean, he made you, you know, believe that he was a coach, and you know you bought into everything he was saying, and he just played that role to a hilt. So I'm going with Denzel.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen all right, by the way?
No.
No, it's not up on the screen, but
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. Well, we will go to Brett. Do you guys know the list? I'm not sure why it wasn't Sharon. So
I don't need to see the list.
I don't really need to either, because honestly, I vote for the same one as Spires. You know, Denzel. To me, it's the best actor out of all of them.
all right. Well, we're gonna go to Hodge because I know Greg's answer already. So Hodge,
I do think Denzel is probably the best actor, but I took a different angle again. I actually went with Adam Sandler because I was trying to think of who can play, like, you know, a more serious role, like in The Longest Yard, but then a goofy role, kind of, you know, Happy Gilmore. So that's with Adam Sandler.
okay. All right. Very good. And Greg, go ahead. We know it.
Yeah, I mean, I had to give the GOAT his due. I mean, all these guys are great, but when it comes to sports movies, the first ballot Hall of Famer to me is Costner. And I think it's, you know, it's its volume of movies that he's done, and just they're all great, and the performances are great. So to me, he's Mr. Sports Movie.
Okay. All right. Well, what the only thing that surprised me going through some of these actors and actresses catalogs was Matt Damon. I didn't realize how many of these movies he was actually in. He actually technically led with 6. 4.
Is he the new Kevin Bacon? 6 degrees to Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit better actor than Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I'm not saying he isn't.
But yeah, no, I can see what you mean. He ties in with a lot of people. But like Rounders, awesome movie. Some people might not consider that a sports movie. Invictus is
Damn it, it's a sports movie.
That's right.
It went against Rocky. Legend of Bagger Vance was in that, not the main part, but pretty good. Finding Forrester, small part in that, and then Field of Dream. He was actually an uncredited extra in that movie, which was just kind of an interesting fact. But yeah, I went with I'm kind of embarrassed to say I went with Adam Sandler too on this one. But you know what was really interesting on what everybody said. So you got Denzel Washington, Adam Sandler, Kevin Costner. Those are actually the 3 leading vote getters by the voters, and fairly close. But Denzel Washington was the winner. He had 44 of the votes, which translates to about 25 or 26%. Adam Sandler was actually second with 28 votes, which was 16%, and Kevin Costner with 26 votes, which was about 15%. So, I guess we can put them all up on the podium there, and gold, silver, bronze medalists. But yeah, I think you can't go wrong with any of those 3. It might just depend on the movie and the part. If I'm casting a serious part, I want Denzel Washington playing that role. If I want a goofy part, I want Adam Sandler playing that role. And if I want kind of that in between, I'm going with Kevin Costner. So all good stuff there. All right, we're
more potential foreshadowing.
Oh yeah. Very true. Yeah, a lot of the voting has been interesting. So far we've had Mr. Miyagi, Herman Boone with the best speech. We had Eye of the Tiger with best song, Gonna Fly Now, so 2 Rocky things, and Denzel Washington with best crossover actor. So a lot of love going to Denzel, a lot of love going to Rocky. And now we are going to go on to best villain in a sports movie. So this is kind of a fun category too, because you can take this different ways. Is that showing up for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. So we got Rachel Phelps from Major League, White Goodman from Dodgeball, Yvonne Drago from Rocky 4. So I just threw it under the Rocky series. Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, Judge Smales from Caddyshack, Bud Kilmer from Varsity Blues, and Sensei John Kreese from the Karate Kid. So Dave, I know it's nearing 9 o'clock here, so I'm going to let you get your thoughts in before you got to go.
I got time for I got 5 more minutes, but I'm going to go with Ivan Drago. I mean, the ultimate villain at the time, the Russian, takes out an American hero. I must break you. I just think it's Ivan Drago. I mean, the epitome of hate during the 80s.
Okay. All right. Very good. We'll go to the other Dave Hodge on this one.
All right. Hard to go against Kilmer and Kreese, but I'm going with the other Dave. I'm going with Drago. I mean, he embodies the Soviet Union at that time. Just, machine, cold, calculated, it's hard too, again, because you got the comedic aspect here and the serious aspect, but I think it's Drago. And he says the least of all these people, right? So you don't understand what he says.
Yeah, like you said, cold and calculating.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Franklin, to you.
We're just going to keep that train rolling. It's Drago. And you just said he barely speaks, but when he does, it's not only, he's cold and calculated, but he's cold hearted. If he dies, he dies. I think that sort of mentality of of a villain, that's the ultimate right there.
Okay. All right, and Greg, to you.
I mean, it's a clean sweep. It's when you look at all of them. I mean, there's a comedic aspect to all of these characters, except for one who actually killed somebody with his bare hands, and it's just
Okay. All right. I voted for Drago as well. Let me ask this, since it was a clean sweep, just give me a name. Who would you have as your runner-up?
Grease.
Crease, okay. Dave, Hodge?
I'll go with Kilmer.
Brett?
I'm gonna go McGavin.
Greg?
Kilmer.
Okay. I go with Shooter McGavin as well. So just for the entertainment aspect. All right. I think this one was pretty clear cut. With 72 votes, which translates to about 42%, it was Yvonne Drago. And Shooter McGavin came in second with 32 votes. So, a 40 vote difference there. So yeah, pretty big. That was probably the easiest victory of anybody. So we will move on to, you can't have a good underdog without a good villain. So we're gonna switch gears here, and now we're going to from best villain to the other side of the coin, best underdog or top underdog in a sports movie. So we got some real ones, we got some fictional ones mixed in here. You got the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team from Miracle. You got the Mighty Ducks, which represented District 5. That was their team name before they were the Mighty Ducks. The Jamaican bobsled team from Cool Runnings. Little Giants, obviously of the movie Little Giants, and Average Joe's Gymnasium from the movie Dodgeball. So way different aspects. We got some serious ones, we got some joking ones here, but Spires, you're still on the call, so you're leading off.
Man, black people don't like the cold, so I'm definitely not going with the Jamaican bobsled team. That's not even close to being realistic. Let's go with the 80s U.S. men's hockey team.
Okay, all right. And by the way, though, Cool Runnings based on a true story.
It is, yeah.
I've actually never ever seen Cool Runnings.
I think you like it. I think you really would like it. So that might be a good movie for you. I think your kids would like it too. So
yeah, okay.
All right, we'll go to Greg on this one.
Yeah, they always say they'll say you can't script a story like this. These are all great stories, but the Miracle on Ice is, I mean, it's probably the greatest underdog sports story of all time. So I'm going to go with Miracle.
Okay.
Hockey team.
Brett, to you.
I'm going to say Miracle's going to win this. I don't doubt that, but I didn't vote for it. And it's because Average Joe's. Literally, it's called Dodgeball, a true underdog story. It literally wrote itself. So I went with that.
Okay. All right. And Dave, to you, or Hodge, to you.
I mean, I immediately went to the only two that are real stories, the Jamaican bobsled team and the Miracle, but the bobsled team is a cool story. They didn't even win. They came in like 30 something, I think, in the Olympics when I referenced it, but it's got to be the Miracle. It's a real story. It's a Miracle.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, there's a little bit of surprise in the voting here, by my count. So Franklin, your Average Joe's took the win, and when I checked it this morning, it was like in 5th place. And
wow,
when the voting closed, it was the winner tonight. So Average Joe's with 48 votes, which equaled 28% of the vote. And then we actually had a tie for 2nd place, the Jamaican bobsled team and the Miracle team.
We're going to have to do some checking on that one.
Your irregular voting patterns.
Stop the count.
Yeah, Moss deliver in the mail. It came in a little. All right. We are now to our sort of our final category here. So we're in the finals. We've made it this far. We've come a long way.
We like I've said from the beginning, we started with 96 sports movies. We had 16 baseball, 16 basketball, 16 football, and 48 other sports movies. So Major League, the 1 seed coming out of the baseball region, and Remember the Titans, the number 3 seed coming out of the football region. So Spires, again, we'll start with you real quick. Just overall thoughts on either this matchup or either one of these movies.
Great matchup, 2 great movies, all of them very quotable, especially with Major League. Everybody grew up on that one, but I'm going with, left side is the strong side, baby. Remember the Titans brings it home with the W.
All right. We'll go to your counterpart, Mr. Hodge.
I'm agreeing with Dave there. Great movies, but I'm on Team Titans on this one. So,
okay, Brett, to you.
Yeah, I went Major League here, but it was not without consideration for Remember the Titans. I think this is probably close, especially with Remember the Titans, how they've been like going up against all these other movies. I would not be shocked if they pulled it out, to be honest with you. So, but I'm going Major League.
Okay, and Greg.
Yeah, Major League taught me a lot of words that I still use to this day because I probably first watched it when I was about 10. So it has that special place in my heart. Plus, it's about the tribe. So Major League.
Okay. I was really torn on this one because I've seen Major League probably about 25 times. I've only seen Remember the Titans 2 times, and I hadn't seen it till last year. Actually, the first time I watched it was over quarantine, and I liked it so much I watched it again almost like a couple weeks later. So I could go with either of these movies. If you put them on, I'm watching either one of them. But I surprisingly voted for Remember the Titans in my vote. And we're going to go, I'm going to show you what the winner right now. So I will tell you the percentage first was 59% of the vote, which was 102 votes for the winning movie. The second place runner-up had 70 votes, which was 41% of the vote. And our winner of the ultimate sports movie bracket is Remember the Titans.
Wow.
Wow.
So very, very, kind of a surprise, but kind of not. And, pretty awesome there. So I guess just, it's kind of a little anticlimactic, but what do you guys think about, first of all, Remember the Titans, and then second of all, the overall bracket as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this was a blast to do from start to finish, like, and just so many great movies, so many great discussions. So this was a really awesome idea, and I think it really worked out well. And it surprised us. It surprised us all the way to the end. I mean, again, it takes nothing away from how great Remember the Titans is as a movie. It just, for me, it wasn't on my radar as one that was going to make it all the way through, but that's why we do it. And it's just interesting to see, when you take things to a larger group, what the consensus really thinks. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And it was just a really cool thing. And it was neat to see it play out. And it's cool when it's not predictable, makes it fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's just like Greg said, it's I do remember thinking early on that this was a movie that could do some damage. I think I even said, like, who would you want to come out of this versus who do you think would? And I think I did say Remember the Titans over Rudy. So I did not think it would win, though. I really did not think it would be able to play out that way. But it did. And hats off to, because it is such a good movie. I think Greg and I and a handful of other people, I think we went and saw it down at Ohio while we were at Ohio State when it came out in the theaters. I think we saw it in the theaters.
You're probably right. Yeah.
And it's always, if, like you said, Justin, earlier, like, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It's the same with both of them, and I think Major League just rings because it's the Indians with me. But Remember the Titans winning is just I think it's great. I think it's such a great movie. And as with like Greg said with the process, this has just been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed getting on talking this stuff every time we've done it. It's been fun just talking with you guys, but just going over these movies and just kind of seeing how everybody is voting that's not that like I wouldn't say necessarily in our circle, like just kind of seeing how other people view things and away from our little echo chamber.
Yeah, great points.
Yeah, echoing the same point. This has been fun, and I mean, I think it's also been fun for me in the sense that a lot of these movies, I mean, I'll be transparent, I haven't seen all of them. Like when we were going back to the larger bracket, when we had, individuals and like the non-sports, like there's some on there for the love of money. I want to see that one with the pool. And then like Hoosiers, I went back and watched Hoosiers over the process of this to see, got to get a refresher on it. I'm definitely not surprised by Remember the Titans because, I mean, out of the list of all the movies, I will say the two movies that resonate with me are Rocky and Remember the Titans, actually, because, I mean, in a sense that when I was talking to my kids, like I had them, like it was only like a few weeks ago, I think before we even started this, I said, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch a movie. It's Remember the Titans. It's really good. And what Greg said, I think on an earlier show is that it's beyond a sports movie, right? It goes beyond that with the whole racial segregation and things like that. So I think that's definitely lays a part to it. It's a bigger movie than just sports. So, but yeah, great. It was a lot of fun.
I think to expand off of Dave's point there, I think with everything that we've watched go on over the last year, not outside of the pandemic, but just all the racial issues that have been going on, I think that is resonating with people too. And so seeing a movie like Remember the Titans, you kind of think about how we haven't really gotten all that much further. Right. So I think that does resonate with people.
Yeah. I just want to, first of all, Spires isn't on here anymore. He had to go to a work meeting, but thank him and thank you guys. And, Jim Bennett was on for a little bit. And I think even Kutchell and Landers were on for a segment. My cousin Doug Eisenbraun was on. So we've had a lot of different people like echo different thoughts. And, some of the more fun things I think we did, like that football draft was a lot of fun, talking about like creating a baseball lineup and, our fictional starting five for basketball. And, I just like really enjoyed all those different things. And, like a lot of times it made me rethink and, I maybe didn't go back and watch a whole movie, but I watched like a YouTube clip and watched 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And it just reminds me of, why we love sports, one, and why we love movies too. And, it's kind of, fiction and reality all put together into one thing. And, no better time to do this when we're still kind of quarantining. And so that's another reason I wanted to put this together. And we sort of looped it around the NCAA March Madness tournament. So, I just can't thank you guys enough for doing this because, you take, an hour. Sometimes we've done up to, 2 hours out of your nights, weeknights or Sunday nights. And when we record this, and I know that's dedication to do that, but hopefully for a fun purpose. So this has been entertaining. And the one thing I know we have talked about kind of doing on a group text that I know some viewers that, I've talked to have wanted us to think about doing is we're going to do some deep dives on certain movies, individual movies, starting in about a month or two, but we're just going to do that once a month. So this isn't going to be an every show type thing. First of all, none of us have the time to do that. We would love to do it, but I think like once a month we're going to start. And I think the first movie we are going to start with is Happy Gilmore, sort of kind of like teeing that up around the Masters for April. And then we'll get into different movies. So we're going to have some deep dives on sports movies. I know Greg's mentioned Varsity Blues. We've talked about that, but we'll venture into some movies outside of the sports world as well. But I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I think this was a nice base to build off of. We've done Groundhog Day in the past, sort of our maiden voyage there with that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and this is kind of cool to see how people vote and how they view this whole bracket as a whole, and we can kind of go from there. So yeah, so there's my rant on that, but again, just want to thank you guys, and I guess closing thoughts before we sign off here. Any closing thoughts?
Beyond the fact that I know I saw the list of movies that we're talking about previewing, there's some of those that are going to be a good time to get into some deep discussions on. So
Okay.
It may be good. It'll be good to have some beverages with some of those.
Oh, yeah.
Really open it up.
I think I agree there. I agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. So here's going to be my homework assignment for you guys or anybody watching. I already have a list of about 8 different things I want to break down for each movie, just for the fun of it. And we'll go kind of deep dives into that. But if you think of any different categories or any maybe even specific movies you want us to cover in the future, send me a message on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever. And we'll look into that. But these guys know what they're talking about. Sometimes even Moscow knows what he's talking about.
When he can get here on time.
Yeah. So we'll get some people that are really interested in the movie we're covering each time, and have probably between 3 and 5 people covering each one of those movies. But we'll have fun with it. But again, 172 people voting for this last round of the sports movie ultimate sports movie bracket. So can't thank those people enough for voting. I know it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but just the fact that you did it, we appreciate that on our end. So Dave, Brett, Greg, thank you guys, and we'll definitely get this going again real soon. So have a great night, and thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.